Partisan of Bengal. In 1905, Lord Curzon made partisan of Bengal. He divided Bengal into two parts, East Bengal and Assam on one side, West Bengal and Bihar on the other side. Lord Curzon made a statement that the partition was purely on administrative grounds, but the Indians thought that it was to break the unity of the people and to flare up confrontation between the Hindus and the Muslims. This angered not only the extremists but also the moderates. They called it as an introduction of the policy of divide and rule. Due to violent criticism and agitation, the partition was revoked in 1911. It paved the way for the birth of the Swedish movement in economic boycott. Swadeshi literally means of one's own country. The Congress adopted the slogan Vande Mataram, composed by Barklin Chandra Chatterjee. Aligarh movement. Aligarh movement was started by Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, a judicial officer under the British government. This was the first and the most important movement for the spread of modern education and special reforms among the Muslims. He started a school at Ghazipur in 1864. It was called as the Scientific Society, which translated many scientific works into Urdu and published them. His greatest achievements was the establishment of the Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College at Aligarh in 1875. He was in favor of the abolition of Parda system and education of women. He propagated his reviews and ideals of his society through the newspaper called Talil-ul-Akark, Reforms of Morals. He said the Hindus and the Muslims are two eyes of the beautiful bird that was India. He did yeoman service for uplifting the Muslims. Home Rule movement. Home Rule movement in the freedom struggle. Bala Gangadhar Tilak formed the Home Rule League in Bombay in 1916. Mrs. Annie Besant also started a Home Rule League in Madras. Mrs. Annie Besant created tremendous enthusiasm among the people by her speeches and writings. Her paper New India was banned. The two leagues carried on propaganda in favor of Home Rule or self-government of India. Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das supported the movement led by Mrs. Annie Besant. The Quit India movement. The failure of Cripps mission brought about a change in Gandhiji's attitude. He felt that non-violent methods so far followed did not yield the desired effect. Therefore, he asked for the complete withdrawal of the British from India. The historic Quit India resolution was passed at Bombay. I am not going to be satisfied with anything short of complete freedom. We shall do or die. We shall either free India or die in the attempt. It was indeed a clarion call for unarmed revolt on a mass scale on the very next day. Gandhi, Nehru, Abdul Kalam Azad and other prominent leaders of the Congress were arrested. The Second World War came to an end in 1945. After the war, the Labour Party under Clement Attlee came to power in England. He was the supporter of Indian freedom struggle. Attlee deputed a mission to find a solution for India's problems. Main demands of moderates. expansion and reform of legislative councils, created opportunities for Indians in higher posts by holding the ICS examination simultaneously in England and in India, separation of the judiciary from the executive, more powers for the local bodies, reduction of land revenue and protection of peasants from unjust landlords, abolition of salt tax and sugar duty, reduction of spending on army, freedom of speech and expression and freedom to form associations. Swadeshi movement. Swadeshi movement involved programs like the boycott of government service, courts, schools and colleges and foreign goods, promotion of Swadeshi goods, promotion of national education through the establishment of national schools and colleges. It was both a political and economic movement. The Swadeshi movement was a great success. In Bengal, even the landlords joined the movement. The women and students took to picketing. Students refused using books made of foreign paper. The government adopted several tough measures. It passed several acts and to crush the movement. The Swadeshi volunteers were beaten badly. Extremist leaders Balagangadhar Tilak, Lala Lajpati Rai, Bipin Chandra Pal and Aurobindo Ghosh were imprisoned and deported. India's foreign policy. After 1947, India began to follow an independent foreign policy. It was designed by the first Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He developed the basic principles of India's foreign policy. He was the architect of the non-aligned movement during the Cold War era. Also, he extended support to colonial countries in the struggle for independence. Nehru outlined the 5 principles of coexistence of or Panchashil for conducting relations among countries. India plays an active role in the international bodies such as Commonwealth and the United Nations Organization. After the independence, Nehru decided to stay within Commonwealth, an organization consisting of former British colonies. India had also played an active role in the UN peacekeeping forces in various parts of the world. Salient features of Indian Constitution. The term federation derived from the Latin word fedus. It means treaty or agreement. A federal state come into existence as a result of the union of states. Therefore, federal state there exist 2 government bodies. The relation between center and the state may be explained under the following heads: legislative relations, administrative relations, and financial relations. The President of India is the first citizen of the India. The President is the head of the state. The real executive power in India rests with the Prime Minister. The Parliament of India consists of the President of India, the Council of States Rajya Sabha, and the House of the People Lok Sabha. Judiciary is the 3rd organ of the government. In India, those who have attained 18 years of age are eligible to vote. Important organs of the League of Nations. Organs of the UNO. The UNO consists of 6 main bodies which are as follows. 1. The General Assembly. The General Assembly is the UNO's main organ and deliberative body. 2. The Security Council. The Council has 5% members: the USA, the UK, France, the Russian Federation, and China, and 10 non-permanent members. The Economic and Social Council. It consists of 54 members for a period of years. 1/3 of its members are retiring every 3 years. The Trusteeship Council. The Trusteeship Council looks after certain territories placed under the trusteeship of the UNO. 5. The International Court of Justice. The principal justice body of the UNO is the International Court of Justice. It is located at the Hague in Netherlands. The Secretariat. 6. The administrative functions of the UNO are performed by the Secretariat in the United Nations. Secretariat carries out the day-to-day works of the organization and implements the programs and politics laid down by the organs of the UNO. The impact of the Cold War. After the Berlin crisis, this Cuban crisis, the stage was set for a thaw in the Cold War. It was realized by the both sides that any nuclear war between them would lead to mutual destruction. That realization painted to the necessity of peaceful coexistence. The result was the signing of the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty on 5th August 1963 between Soviet Union, the United States and Britain. It provided for a limited ban on nuclear tests in the atmosphere, including other space or underwater. A hotline was signed between superpower. The Nuclear Non-Proliferation in Treaty was signed in 1963 between the Soviet Union and the United States. On 25th May 1972, two agreements were signed in Moscow by President Nixon and Communist Party Chief Brezhnev. On 8th December, the Immediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty for the Destruction of Europe-based missiles was signed between the United States and the Soviet Union. Mao Zedong. In 1920, the Communist Party of China was formed by Mao Zedong, Zhou Enlai and other leaders in Peking. Mao Zedong realized that the peasants would play a big role in bringing about the communist revolution. After the death at Sun Yat-sen in 1925, the unity between Kuomintang and the Communist Party was broken. Since the communists were caught and tortured, Mao Zedong and Zhou Enlai organized a march from South China to North China, a distance of nearly 6,000 miles. It was known as the Long March of 1934 to 1935. Second World War results. In this war, about 15 million soldiers and 10 million civilians lost their lives. An important result of the Second World War was that it brought to an end the colonial empire of the European countries in Asia and Africa. Multi-power world became bipolar world. The USA and the USSR emerged as superpowers. Cold War started as an ideological war between the USA and USSR. Causes responsible for the rise of Hitler. Adolf Hitler was born in April 1889 in a very humble family in an Austrian village. On account of poverty, he could not get proper education. His father wanted to make his son a government employee, but Hitler was very fond of art from his early days. So he went to Vienna at the age of 18 to learn the art of painting and architecture. He felt that the Jews were the moral enemies of individualism, nationalism and racialism. Further, he felt that the Jews were the supporters of the Mexican ideology. Hitler was opposed to democracy and believed in the supremacy of the German race. During the First World War, Hitler joined the army and participated in the war. In recognition of his service and bravery shown during the war, he was honored with the award of the Iron Cross. He believed that the Jews and the communists were responsible for the defeat of the Germany. He therefore understood a program to avenge the defeat. He began to work as a spy in Munich. He also started a new party with the cooperation of his friends. National Socialist German Labour Party was launched. The Communist Revolution of China in 1949. Mao Zedong introduced the economic reforms known as the Great Leap Forward. In 1966, Mao launched the Cultural Revolution. During the Cultural Revolution, those who were against Mao were removed from the Communist Party and imprisoned. After Mao's death in 1976, the Gang of Four were arrested. Following this, Deng Xiaoping quickly captured power from Mao's successor Hua Guangfeng. Deng introduced many economic reforms, including the relaxation of government control over the Chinese economy. Thus, China moved from a planned economy to a mixed economy. As a result of the changing economic scene, China formally joined the World Trade Organization in 2001. Six organs of the UNO. Foundation of the UNO. After a series of conferences such as the Atlantic Charter, Yalta Conference, and Potsdam Conference, finally in 1944 at Dumbarton Oaks in USA, the creation of UNO was finalized. Aims of the UNO: to maintain and preserve international peace and security, to develop friendly relations and harmony among the centuries. Organization of the UNO: the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, the Trusteeship Council, the International Court of Justice, the Secretariat. Decolonization. America, to attain their independence from the colonial masters. This process is known as decolonization. Maintenance of peace. The main function of the UNO had been the maintenance of peace in the world. The problem of Iran. On 1st January 1946, Iran presented a complaint against Russia before the UNO. The immediate cause of the Second World War. The interwar period witnessed the rise of dictatorship in Europe. The interwar period is otherwise called the period of dictators. Germany, Italy, Spain, and Japan witnessed the rise of dictators. At last, they attacked Poland and World War II started. The same condition prevailed in Italy also. Italy felt that it was deceived in the Paris Peace Conference. Mussolini started the fascist party. In 1922, he captured power and became a dictator. He also followed an aggressive foreign policy. Disarmament. In the history of the warfare, nuclear weapons have been used only twice, on 6th and 8th of August 1945. When the United States dropped atom bombs on the Japanese cities of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Since then, nuclear weapons have been detonated on over 2,000 occasions for testing and demonstration purposes. The countries known to have detonated such weapons are the United States, Soviet Union, United Kingdom, France, People's Republic of China, India, Pakistan, and North Korea. In order to minimize the risk of future nuclear war, the Non-Proliferation Treaty was proposed. The NPT is the most extensive inspection and control system ever devised to prevent the diversion of nuclear material from civilian nuclear programs for weapon purposes. Imperialism. Imperialism is a policy of extending control or authority over colonized countries. The term is used to describe the policy of a nation's dominance over distant lands. The age of imperialism usually refers to the old imperialism period starting from 1860, when major European states started colonizing the other continents. The term imperialism was initially coined in the mid-1500s to reflect the policies of countries such as Britain and France. WHO expanded into Africa and Americans. Imperialism refers to the highest stage of capitalism, which made it necessary to find new markets and resources. This theory of necessary expansion of capitalism outside the boundaries of nation states was shared by Lenin and Rosa Luxemburg.